You're listening to The Jake Asman Show on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Jake Asman.
We waste no time with our next guest. He joins us right now on our progressive guest line. Good friend to the show, former MLB All-Star, and now a big-time sports media star, the host of the Bret Boone podcast himself. He's Bret Boone, and he joins us now here on the Jake Asman Show. Good morning, Bret. Thanks as always for coming on.
Hey, Jake. How you doing?
I'm great, my friend. So, let's talk about the podcast for a moment. The guests you guys are, you and your team, who's ever working on it with you, that you guys are putting on every week, man. Congratulations. It's been a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah, the team. It's a mystery now. No, I appreciate it, Jake. It's, it started off as just kind of a fun thing. And it's kind of taken on a life of its own. We got a lot of great guests, and I went into it kind of pessimistic. I didn't know how I was going to like it, and after week one and week two, and then all of a sudden I started getting some fun guests, and we've had a good time with it, and we'll see where it goes.
Was the hardest guest to book the Yankee manager?
Well, I was the most resilient to that pick. Eventually I had to cave in. No, he's that was an interesting one too, because as much as Aaron and myself have, grew up and been teammates, but he's never interviewed me and I've never interviewed him. So it was a little bit of a different flavor, but it ended up working out cool. And you get some real stories and talk about our childhood and kind of like, what it was like. But definitely an interesting interview. Questioning my little brother.
It was a great listen. I encourage any baseball fan to check that out. Just search the Bret Boone podcast. You can listen to on Apple. Go to thebretboonepodcast.com. Bret, I wanted to originally have you on to talk all things baseball. We'll get to what Corey Kluber did for your brother's team, of course, last night throwing a no-no. But when I wanted to have you on, it was in the midst here of kind of yet again another unwritten rules debate in Major League Baseball. Of course, by now everyone's aware of what happened with the White Sox and Tony La Russa's comments. What's your take on that whole situation? And, are you surprised people are coming down on Tony as hard as they have over the last couple of days?
Well, first of all, the White Sox have the best record in the league. And they're down Robert and they're down Jimenez. So that's the first thing. I've thought about this. I've kind of wrestled with it, and I came up with a little conclusion. Okay, Tony La Russa, iconic manager, Hall of Famer. We all know he's an old school guy. He's in his 70s. He has a different mindset. But I think when he took this job, he knew that there was going to be challenges coming into 2021. The players are different than they were, in 1995. And not to say good or bad, just different. It's a different generation. I think Tony knew that going in. I think Tony was well aware of that. And I think he made that. It was a challenge for him, but at the same time, he's got to bend a little bit to these players, and I think he is doing that. The other night, take the case in point, the 3-0 pitch, guy hits a home run. Tony gives the take sign to his third base coach. Third base coach gives it to the player swings. Okay, first of all, I've been in that situation a million times. I don't always agree with my manager. I didn't always see eye to eye with each manager I played for. But at the end of the day, he's my skipper, and I respect the position. So that's first and foremost. What happened after that? I just think bad PR. I think it's something where the skipper calls you in and said, "Hey, here's what I think. I gave you the take sign. I don't care what you think. Here's how it is." Instead, now in the day of Twitter, it's out in the public. I don't think that's good for a team. I don't think it's good for team chemistry. You're going to have guys with different feelings, different thoughts. That being said, I don't think it's that big of a deal as a player. And my personal beliefs, Jake, there's a lot of new unwritten rules, and I've come to the conclusion that unwritten rules are what the players decide they are, not what Bret Boone and his era decide their unwritten rules are. It's 2021. It's their game, and whatever they decide those rules are is what the rules are. Players always take care of things on the field, In my generation, it was an eye for an eye. It's not that way so much anymore. But I think this will work out in the long run and not be that big of a deal. As a player, I would never swing 3-0. But I think what he did when a position player comes into the game, it becomes a circus for me. I don't want to be on the field anymore. I don't want to make an out against a position player. It's a 3-0 home run off that guy. It's not going to affect his life. Who cares if his ERA is 30? He's a player. He's an offensive player. Nobody cares what his pitching stats are. If there's a real pitcher in there, it's 15-2, whatever it is, 3-0 count. It's kind of a known thing amongst players is you give me this 3-0, 3-1, it's on. So I don't know. I think we're cutting hairs. We're making too much of it. I had no problem with the 3-0 pitch strictly because it was a position player on the mound.
Bret Boone with us here. Bret, to your point, I think what's getting lost in the shuffle here is that La Russa had the take sign on. And it's like, I'm all for let the players play. I don't care that he swung 3-0, but as you said, out of respect to the skipper, you have to listen to your manager there. And like the idea that, Tony La Russa was wrong for doing that. He comes from an old school background. He felt in a blowout it was, the wrong thing to do at that given point in the game. Like I personally had no issue with it. My issue is why isn't the lack of listening to the take sign being covered? Why are too many people here just piling on Tony La Russa when you even just said the White Sox have the best record in the game right now?
Well, because a lot of people piling on have never been on a major league field and have no clue. You hit the point. You hit it. You're right on point there, Jake. It comes down to the take sign and the player saying whether he saw it or not. I think the answer should be, I didn't see the take sign. Okay, then we got a different discussion. But I saw it. I said, screw it. I'm going to hit a home run. I don't care who you are. That's unacceptable. Like I said, I've had so many situations in my career where I didn't see eye to eye with my skipper on certain things. It doesn't matter. When I'm on the field, he's the boss. Irrelevant. It doesn't matter what I think. I've been in situations where I had a sack bunt at certain times in my career. Oh man, I'm angry and I'm, this and that. I got to step out of the box, take a breath, be a professional and go, it doesn't matter what I think. My job is to get the bunt down. I can be as mad as I want, but this is what I need to do. I get the bunt down, I go back. I could still be mad, but I did my job and I'm 0 for 0. I'm not 0 for 1 and popped up the bunt. And my team expects me to do what the skipper says. I don't know how that's lost in translation, but it's the simplest thing right there is you get the take side, you take, and I don't care what you want to do.
And then also, Bret, how come no one's mentioning the fact that clearly the Twins had a problem with it because Duffy then threw at Mercedes the following game?
Yeah, and I got a little problem with that too. All the times you hear these guys throwing at guys all the time. Very rarely does it come from the manager. Times that I've been hit, my teammates thought I was hit on purpose. That bullpen, they're sitting out in the bullpen, they're watching the game, they're talking amongst themselves, and usually, especially on a veteran team, that bullpen will take care of business without a word being uttered. I never went to a pitcher and said, you're going to protect me. Nor did pitchers ever come to me and say, hey, we're going to get one for you, Bret, for you getting hit yesterday. It was just kind of a silent known thing that just took care of itself. In a 14-3 game, if you're pissed right there on what happened, why not drill somebody right there? You're going to wait till the next day. I don't know. I don't know if there was pressure building on the other side, like, do we retaliate? Are we supposed to? There's different views. Different pitchers have different feelings about things. I don't know. I think it was a forced thing. And by the way, if you're going to hit somebody, frickin' square them up in the shoulder blades. Don't throw behind them and pretend like you were trying to hit him. If you're a big league pitcher and you can't square me up if you want to, that tells me you're scared to hit me, yet you still want to have the effect of, look, I'm protecting my team. So if you're going to drill me, drill me. I'll have a lot more respect for you than you throwing one behind me to just show me how big of a tie you are. I thought it was weak. I thought it was kind of overblown and kind of more of a peer pressure thing is, oh, we have to protect that guy, don't we? Well, I don't know in that situation. It all goes back to the position player. Once that position player comes into the game, it's a circus. Nobody wants to make it out against a position player. We'd almost want to call the game and just leave. instead of face that position player with a constant, smile on his face. He's having fun. He's getting to do something, and he doesn't care whether he gives it up or not because there's no expectations on him. If you get what I'm saying.
Bret Boone with us here. Bret, you played 14 years in the majors. You were a phenomenal player. Made multiple All-Star teams. When you watch Shohei Ohtani right now, what he's doing as a pitcher and what he's doing as a batter, I mean, what comes to your mind when you see how he's performing on both ends of the field and, of course, what he's doing at the plate?
It's unbelievable. And it's really fun to watch. The power this guy has is it's amazing. I mean, he's hitting balls, out of left field like a right-handed pull hitter, and then he's just going to the mound and throwing 102 on the mound. I don't think it's anything, we've seen in the modern era. I mean, obviously it's not. The whole thing for me is I've got this unbelievably talented guy, two-way star in Major League Baseball, which it hasn't been seen. How do I get the most out of him? I think his skipper's got the biggest challenge in the game is I've got this absolute, almost something from another world where I can have a number one type pitcher and a 4-hole hitter. And it's just how you maneuver that throughout the course of 162 games. How do you get the most out of him? I don't have the answer to that. The whole thing is protecting him and keeping him healthy, which has been a challenge for Ohtani since coming over here. I don't know what the answer is. Is it he pitches every 6th day? Is it you make him the closer? Is it you limit his innings to a certain amount? You DH him certain days. You let him play the field. I don't know what the true answer is. But I think he's unbelievably great for the game right now. I think they just want to go get a glimpse at this guy. Nothing but positive is coming out of that. And like I said, I hope he can stay healthy for 162 games. It'll be really interesting to see what kind of numbers he can put up. And, you come down to awards at the end of the season. If he keeps this up, I mean, it's an automatic MVP, isn't it? I mean, nobody can win a game for you and hit a 3-run homer. I mean, win a game for you on the mound, hit a 3-run homer at the same time being a part of that. I couldn't imagine anyone anywhere being more valuable to a team. And then when it comes to pay him again, what do you take into arbitration? Well, I had a 2.4 ERA and I hit 35. It's like, okay, what percentage of the team do you want? So I think he's got some interesting things coming up. But I think from a fan's perspective and for the game of baseball, wow, what an awesome story.
It's unbelievable. Bret Boone with us here. Finally, Bret, got a minute left. Got to talk some Yankees with you. I mean, you and I were texting when the Yankees came out and started 5-11. I was freaking out. I'm like, what team am I watching right now? You said it best. Uncle Aaron's got to crack the whip on the guys, and he certainly has. The team's playing a whole lot better. Of course, Corey Kluber last night throws a no-hitter, just an unbelievable performance. When you watch this Yankees team so far this year, Bret, what stands out to you, and how good can this team still be? Because of course, there's still a lot of room for a lot of guys in that lineup to really start producing.
Yeah, I think they went through the early woes, and when you're in New York, it's going to be magnified times 10. I think the pitching staff has done a really good job. That bullpen, especially missing Britton, they've really picked up the slack. Cole is Cole. He's the horse at the top of that rotation. Kluber's been the big guy to me. I love this sign in the offseason. And they said, well, he hadn't pitched in 2 years. Why are they giving him $10 million? There's a reason they cashed him and gave him $10 million. It's not because he wanted to. It's because a lot of other teams knew that Kluber's arm was better and he was going to be a viable part. You put him in the 2-hole. Germán coming back after some off the field problems. He's pitching great. Montgomery's been a real positive for me. I was kind of on the fence on Montgomery. In the 5th starter position, I think he's done a hell of a job for them. Taillon, he's been in and out, but I'm really looking forward to them getting back Severino around the break. I've been watching this kid for a lot of years. Man, the sky's the limit for him. Time will tell, but that's really interesting to me, him coming back. Britton's going to be back in a couple weeks, setting up Chapman. Chapman's the best he's ever been.
Yep.
I watch Chapman now, and the little mechanical changes he's made in his delivery. He's got pinpoint control at 100. And that split is devastating. It comes out of the same arm angle. It looks like a fastball to the hitter, and it just dives out of the zone. He's almost unhittable at this point. He's Randy Johnson in his heyday when Randy was on. Those players are just looking at each other going, good luck. So they're about as short up at the end of the game as possible. The whole thing with the Yankees always has been stay healthy. Right now, they're banged up pretty good position player-wise. Stanton's more time again. But LeMahieu, off to a slow start for him. Like I said, LeMahieu's got the best approach in the game from the right side. He's struggling at 280. You know he's going to get nothing but better. They need to get Stanton back. He was hot. Judge is off to a pretty good start. Torres is coming along. You just got Luke Voigt back. I think nothing but positive for the Yankees going forward. And they are the Yankees. Cashman has that ability to go out and make a big deal for a big-time player. You know the Yankees are going to do that if they need be. I look for the Yankees to be right there in the end, going to the postseason and see what they can do. All comes down to pitching, Jake, like you know, in the postseason. Severino's a huge key to that rotation being dominant in the postseason. But right now, they got enough to get there.
Love it. Brett, gotta run. Thanks so much for coming on. We'll talk soon, my friend.
Love it, Jake. Thank you.
Bret Boone, former MLB All-Star, with us there on the Progressive Guest Line. Quick break, and we're back here on the Jake Asman Show.
Hey, sports fans. Jake Asman of SportsMap Radio here, and I've got a scoop for you. We partnered up with the folks at Score Trade to test out